We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
They changed the name of the high school and all James Woods can say is, ooh, a piece of candy. 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 When a Bowen turned into a vampire, all James Woods could say was, ooh, a piece of candy. 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 When he became Peter's best friend, they sat around the house and said, ooh, a piece of candy. 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 And you know that James Woods practices laundry well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 When they know that he's nectar, the best of them always says, ooh, a piece of candy. 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 Reese's Pieces on the floor and watch him come a saying, ooh, a piece of candy. 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 And you know that James Woods practices laundry well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy. 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 Ooh, a piece of candy.
Fucking thing sucks.
Always got to blow it up at the end. K-boom. Not real explosions, y'all. Sorry, YouTube. Don't be sending your goon squad after us. Good morning, campers. This is Extra Bull Live. I'm your host, Uncle Warren, as you can plainly see below there. Did a little switch-o change-o with the graphics and stuff like that because I don't know, I'm never satisfied with this shit. It's always changing, you know. Just like, you know. So if people say, hey, old man with your awesome goatee, you know, you're just like afraid of change, man. I'm like, no, man, I'm changing all the time. Articles of clothing, that's a different story. Anyway, let's talk, before we get our buddy in here, Franco here, let's shout out who's here. We got Rick, he's here. Choosy's here. Glory Jones, what? Oh shit, that's me. That is you. Of course you got to go on the Extra Bulla Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Come on. We got Game.Film here and Miguel. Of course, the Miguel 5000, the quantum computer, is standing by to bring us knowledge and laughs and tears of joy as well. So I think that's everybody. Luna C's here too. Good to see you. And I'm sure everybody else is going to filter in. So let's bring in the man of the hour here. not leave you waiting, folks. Host of Franc Analysis and king of the fresh cuts. Here's Franco. Bring him in here. What's up, brother? Look at that. Whistle, whistle. Just like in olden times. What's up, my man?
What's going on? It's great to be back. I really like the little ads that you got down there. Did you make those like little ad posters, like the little rectangles? They look really good.
Angels did it.
Okay.
I work for the Lord, Franco. No, I did that. You know what? I said I want to. Okay, so back in the day when the internet was like kind of fresh on the scene, you weren't able to have like video on the sites, right? But you had these rotating banners, right? And that's how you advertised it, and they would rotate, right? So I said, let's bring it back, man, retro. And instead of like advertising bullshit, we advertise our friends. So of course this is always expanding. We're going to get, now that you're back in the mix, you are back in the mix, are you? Right? Yes, question mark.
What do you mean by back in the mix?
You know what I mean, mister. Don't you play coy with me. You bet you
Like
did your streamline. Well, okay. All right. Let's get into your let's talk about your channel first, okay? Cuz you were streaming last night, but you weren't doing your usual book review that you've been doing, right? So, and I enjoyed the stream last night. Don't get me wrong. I loved it. I was like, okay, this is cool. What is he doing? So let me ask you, what are you doing? What's going on?
It felt like some old Franc Analysis video, right?
I know, right?
I'm still gonna do videos like that. It's just gonna be more rare, right? I still want to focus more on like the books and some spirituality topics. Although, like, I look at some videos of like people talking about spirituality and psychology, I'm like, damn, they go so into depth with this. The challenge that I'm having is, how am I gonna integrate that into my current audience right now? So I'm still trying to figure that out. I think the book reviews right now is a stepping stone with that transition. Like, I'm trying to connect things that I find in the books and talk about like some observations that I see in like media and all that in indie / alt media. But I'm still trying to go in that direction. If I ever do an analysis, like news report or analysis video like that, it'll be like what I did just yesterday, like with the X potentially becoming pay only. I'll still do something like that if I see like not enough people are talking about this. I feel like I should, say something about it, because I don't hear enough people talking about or making the connection about how Elon Musk is pretty much like, he's a puppet like for the government and those that are even high, those that control everything, those from like BlackRock and Vanguard and State Street. And they pretty much just used this guy as a puppet to make it seem like he was going to make Twitter better. And clearly he didn't. Like, you just like scroll a little bit down and you see an ad and then another ad and another ad, and I'm like, I don't want to see this. Like, I want to go on Twitter to see the people who I follow. And as time passes by, I see less and less of the almost 2,000 people who I follow on Twitter. I'm sure you can probably like attest to that too, right, Warren?
The landscape has dramatically changed, and in a relatively short period of time too. I liken that. I think one of the crossroads, or one of the milestones that where some of that division happened was probably Force the Vote, where a lot of masks started coming off, right? And that was the thing. Once, Bernie, to his credit, he did unite people early on. But then once, and now here we are, everybody's catching on to his bullshit. We found out he's trying to just shepherd people into the Democratic Party, right? So, and now there's that, it was like, it was almost there, and now it's like, what do we got now? And everybody's just like, kind of like the Walking Dead walking around, kind of like, I don't know what the fuck to do, and they're all doing their own thing, right?
Yeah, like you're talking about like everybody in the independent media sphere is pretty much doing their own thing now.
Yeah, I mean, it is. It just seems like there's so many arguments amongst people that I didn't think
Uh,
that would actually, have arguments. Who not too long ago, like we were talking earlier about how we both
yeah.
pretty much got into the space, what, about 7 years ago, right? And 7 years ago, it seems like was forever ago. And 7 years is not a long time, but a lot has changed in that 7 years. You've seen a lot of growth, but then you've seen people fall too. Once again, do you think that's like talking about like the masks falling off and then people revealing who they really are?
Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why I wanted to focus on psychology and spirituality and all that. And it's that a lot of people don't have themselves in check. They don't have their subconscious in check. Like they're just focusing so much on news and all that that they're not aware of their own biases that they have, and how, unfortunately, like what I've been observing is some people succumb to tribalism, some people succumb to um, worrying about growing their channel, and so with that they sometimes have to talk about some hot topics. Some of that involves talking about drama, talking about, oh, this politician called out this commentator, or this commentator is now talking about this politician, or this commentator interviewed this politician, and then everybody just starts arguing about the disagreements that happened during that interview, or some inconsistencies that some of these commentators had with their principles. Like 2 years ago, they were saying something about Medicare for all, and now they're not really holding that as their main um, main one of their main principles. Um, and yeah, this over time there's been a lot of these situations where there's been like a new topic that arises, whether it be through an interview or um, just foreign policy topics, where people think that, I don't know where you stand on this, Warren, but some people think that every country that's outside of the West is benevolent.
No.
But of course, there's a lot of like nuances with all that, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, the West is, to me, like the number one evil right now, but that doesn't mean that some other country is gonna save us, or is gonna
Yeah.
give us a utopia, right? If the
Exactly.
West falls.
Yeah, that's foolish to think that too, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are there some countries where they're trying to get their shit together and may have some decent leadership, but it's just it's like a professional football team that's just sucked for so long, and the owner had just destroyed the team, and finally somebody came along, bought the team, and now the team doesn't understand how to win. They don't know how to win yet, and so all this shit is just new. So that's the way I look at that kind of thing about it. So,
Right. If we were to just send all these like people in power who we have right now, like all these billionaires, all these politicians, and even people higher than that, those who like own Vanguard and State Street and um BlackRock, like if we were to just like jail all of them and they're no longer in power, will that actually get rid of greed? Will that actually get rid of um all these other, like, what do you call them, like, what's the term for that, like selfish human
well, it's just human
um
nature. I mean,
behavior,
yeah,
right?
it's
Like,
human. Yeah,
in
what
order
that
to
the
get rid of
lizard
that,
brain. You're talking
right?
about
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
lizard brain part. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. In order
That.
to in order to truly prevent greed and all this other stuff that causes human suffering, is for us to be more aware of ourselves.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I mean, another way you can stop greed is to have a society that provides at least the basic needs for people,
yeah.
right? You're not going to stop it 100%, but you're going to stop a lot of it, especially because I mean,
Easily, like, so,
when
what's the
we talk
word?
about greed, right? We talk about people who have like lots of money, but you also have greedy people, poor people who are like who think they're going to be billionaires, right? And they'll keep what little they have and they won't help their people. I'm not saying that's, it's all a case by case, situation, and people are not a monolith. But, but these people who think these billionaires like Elon Musk are going to save them. Whenever he took over Twitter, I was like, I took a wait and see approach. I was like, kind of like you're watching a car wreck almost, or it's like you're watching NASCAR and you're waiting to see if two cars are going to collide or something like that. It was kind of like one of those things, and it's just, it just ended up not being, I think it's worse now than it was before. Don't you agree?
I think it's worse. Like, it was bad before. Like, and people were complaining about it. Like, people were rightfully frustrated with how people had like certain labels under it, like Russian affiliated journalists. Like, all right, then be consistent. Right. Put like U.S. Oligarch corporate funded outlet. Be consistent.
Yeah, still owned by a billionaire.
All this other stuff, right?
Yeah.
But and then the shadow banning and all this other stuff that would happen. People. I got suspended from Twitter. I remember you got suspended from Twitter a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
People were rightfully frustrated, but then they think, oh, let's get somebody else in there. Come on, but it's still a billionaire. This is still someone who has served the government, who has played a role in the Russia-Ukraine war, with selling some of his weapons, right? And someone who's participated and helped to enable coups. Remember his tweet where he's like, "Oh, like we will coup whoever we want." Like, Tesla uses lithium. Like lithium, we get that from other countries. So
they're not getting it from here. They have to get it from other countries, which makes developments in Africa right now very, very, very interesting. In an exciting kind of good way, right? So, but like you said, he's a billionaire, right? And you've heard me preach about this. It's all systematic, right? Unless you change the system dramatically, and I know a lot of people are not going to like that, but that's the only way you're going to get real change, right? Otherwise, just wait for the asteroid to come from space, hit the Earth, and then you'll get dramatic change whether you want it or not. I'd rather us do it on our own, so, but how do we do it, right? How many times have we asked that question too? How do we, how do we band together? How do we overturn the system? It's just, you get tired of asking that question.
We got to understand each other better and be more aware of the detriments of tribalism. Like, some people think that they get attached to certain solutions. Like, they think like, oh, like this politician is going to save us. Bernie Sanders, that was the first thing, right? So many people stayed attached to that idea that they became like the humanist reports of the world and the TYT and all those other guys, right? They stayed attached to that idea, and that was initially what created the first separation. Because we were talking about how independent media is now like more disassembled now than it was before. Originally, everybody was on the same page when it came to or not everybody. There's like a few people here and there that were more aware at the time in 2016. But in 2016, so many people woke up to to what was happening, that it's because of billionaires that we're having all these issues and all that. I was one of them, as like someone in his early 20s, late teens, figuring this stuff out. And then when Bernie endorsed Hillary, that's when I was like, nope, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stand by my principles, and I'm not going to vote for a warmonger. I'm not going to vote for someone who is in bed with these billionaires. That's not going to solve our problems. But then there were the harm reductionists that stuck to that idea, like, oh, like, I mean, this is the best thing we can do. Like, we have to vote for Hillary. And so the people that were like, I'm not voting for Hillary, I'm voting third party, separated from the people that were like, I'm going to vote for Hillary. And some people took it to another level and were like, I'm not voting for Hillary, I'm voting for Trump because at least he's an outsider, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
Even though every president that we get is just going to one up the previous one, and it's going to be a warmonger either way, like, because they're not really in power.
Yeah.
Trump wasn't really in power.
No, none of these people are really in power, and everybody thinks their candidate is Cool Whip. It's like, yeah, but you're putting Cool Whip on a shit Sunday, man. You need to find a new dessert, okay? You gotta change the system first. You gotta, and the only way we're gonna do that is direct action, and we gotta get mutual aid chains going, But the thing, like what your channel is doing, just going back to what you said, is finding different ways of communicating with people, right? Sometimes it's like, you need a little something else to talk about in order to transition into some stuff that not a lot of people want to talk about these days, right? It feels uncomfortable. They don't really have an opinion on it, that sort of thing. That's what I kind of like to do on my show. I like to use comedy and get some weird, and get some conversations going about it, try and do it in a lighthearted way, right? So you have to have these different avenues of communication. And I think, what you're doing is great. What I hope I'm doing is, okay, trying to help out. But you need that variety, man. Otherwise, you got all these shows. It's just, if they're all these just gossip, they're just gossiping about other podcasters and YouTubers and shit. Fuck that, man. That's like, the National Enquirer shit, for online.
I see that mainly with people who want to do that full time. Like, they want to be a commentator. Like, they want to have that be their main source of income. And I truly believe it's a subconscious thing, because I see a lot of people, a lot of my colleagues, like around 2021, that was when like when more people started finding me and all that, and in the Vanguard and all that. And that's when the Vanguard shift to be this like TMZ type channel. They're not the first ones to do it.
Right.
There were other people before that who were siding with like TYT and all those other guys that were TMZ-esque. And there were people that would complain about that, right? Some of my colleagues, but they don't realize that they also do the same thing. Anytime there's some new like interview that happens with a bigger commentator, and then there's like an argument, like what happened recently with Jimmy Dore and Cornel West, everybody jumps on the hype train to make a video. Oh, Cornel West is more right, Jimmy Dore is more right, blah blah. Like how about we make the discussion about the principles?
Right.
Why aren't we talking about that?
Yeah, I watched that interview too, and everybody's talking about towards the end, the exchange there, about how people were perceiving Jimmy to be slamming Cornel West and saying that race wasn't important and stuff like that, right? I mean, that was been talking that was going on. To me, from my person, and I don't know, we may disagree on this. From what I saw, I don't think Jimmy was as prepared for that interview as he should have been, right? Or he let his emotions get the better of him, right? So, no, don't get me wrong. I like Jimmy, but I'm kind of like a casual viewer these days, right? I got other stuff I got to do, and it's a lot of times it falls when his show's on. I don't hate the dude. It's just like I don't watch it nearly as much as I used to, right? Like we said, everything's changing in this space, right? And a lot of people, some people aren't good with it, right? And it's just making them weird, and it's making weird relationships in the space too. So, I mean, am I talking out of school here? Am I saying anything that you don't agree with?
No, I think you're on. Like, I think we're from what you were saying, I think we're mostly in agreement. But it didn't seem like he was prepared. I have noticed that he's like more tired now. Like, he doesn't feel like doing this. And like, I mean, who wouldn't be? Like, you're getting attacks from all these other people. Sometimes those attacks that he gets are like disingenuous, but sometimes there are people that bring up like genuine constructive criticism to Jimmy. I was doing it when Jimmy was like falling for the Rona narrative back in 2020, 2021. And then he like saw the light eventually. But when I was pointing it out during that time and talking about, I wish Jimmy was talking more about the Great Reset and the World Economic Forum, because he's not talking enough about that. It feels like his channel's become more surface level, or it's not evolving with the times. I was saying like he should have on more people like Ryan Christian of The Last American Vagabond. At the time, I was saying those things, and a lot of his fans were getting mad at me and they were saying like, Jimmy, you want Jimmy Dore to become a conspiracy theorist? He's like, Jimmy Dore doesn't fall for those conspiracy theories. He's not an anti-vaxxer, blah, blah. People were getting mad at me and unsubscribing during 2021.
I remember.
And then he comes on my show and then he talks about like his experience that he had with the vax and all that. And then you see a change on his show. And then he starts talking about that. And then all of a sudden, a lot of those same people, a lot of those same fans, they change their opinion along with Jimmy. So what I'm noticing is that in this space, there are a lot of people that unfortunately aren't thinking for themselves. They're not looking for information. Instead, they're looking for people to tell them what to think, which is what a lot of mainstream media viewers do.
Exactly, right? That's the whole point of the independent space, is to do the exact opposite of what the mainstream media is doing. They're pushing disinformation and propaganda, and this is supposed to be the space where you hear the real information, where where it used to be like the online bulletin boards back in the early 90s when the internet was young and free, right? Where people were just free to talk about all this kind of stuff. And now, that was like, shoot, I don't know. That was like at least mid 90s, right? When it was all text. Yeah. And now you fast forward to today, and here we are, and it's just a mess, man. And like I said, there was a core there for a while, and then the core kind of disintegrated over just random bullshit. And it's just and now it just feels like it's wrestling. It's the kayfabe shit, right? Like my buddy Ed Hiller talks about, the kayfabe shit. I'm done with it, man. And I'm glad there's cats like you who's calling this shit out. You know what I mean? It's, these people need to get back to serious shit. I mean, I understand you got to do a little TMZ stuff to make a little coin so you can keep doing the real stuff. All right, everybody's got to do a little dirty on the side, but as long as that's not your main thing, right? You got to do what you got to do.
I would say it's mainly on the viewers too. Like,
true.
They're like the reason these like content creators are doing those kind of videos is because people are watching that kind of stuff, and the algorithm pushes that stuff. So it's on the viewers. Like, if you see stuff like that, it'll be like, is this really going to be like worth my time, or am I seeking out guilty pleasure? So yeah, I mean, there is a difference between like putting out an attack video and just like giving out genuine constructive criticism, or even like calling out these colleagues on the phone, or like messaging them, be like, hey, I think we have some disagreements here, and I think that we can talk about it like either on camera or behind camera. Like, we can. I've done that. I've done that with Jimmy. Like when he was talking about Anna Kasparian, they were disingenuously attacking him. But do you remember the new skirt thing? Like,
oh yeah, oh god.
There were some things. There were some things there that I disagreed with the way that he was talking about it. I was like, you went a little overboard, and I talked about it on my stream. And then he's the one that he called me, and we talked about it. And then when I voiced that on my show, a lot of his fans were mad at me for doing that. They were getting offended. They were unsubscribing. But Jimmy, he called me and we talked about it, and then he came on the show, and then he even said, like, I probably shouldn't have said it like that. Like, the way that I said it on my show was pretty offensive for women and degrading. I probably should have said it like the way I'm saying it on your show right now, Franco. So how is it that he is getting less offended than the fans when I point out these criticisms? right? Like, what does that say about the current state right now of the viewers? It means like I don't think we're consciously there yet in order to see some efficient changes. And that's why I am going to that direction where I'm talking about psychology and spirituality and all that, so that the viewers can become more self-aware of that, so that they don't succumb to this petty tribalism.
Yeah.
Like, I have like colleagues, some of the smaller ones, that don't want to talk to me anymore just because I share disagreements with about some of the views that the gray zone have about what's happening with the Russia-Ukraine situation. Even though there's like a lot of agreement, but there's also some disagreements with the Russia-Ukraine stuff. Like well, we don't have to get into all of it there, but pretty much like,
it's fine.
All right, we'll get into it. Look,
I'm so glad to see you, brother. I'm glad you're back, man. please continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So there's no sides that win in war, right? So in order to be completely anti-war, you have to be like, you want both sides to cease fire. That's my stance. That's my stance with it. But people are like, no, Ukraine should surrender. And then you have the libs also, they're like, no, Russia should surrender. I was like, there has to be a complete ceasefire on both sides.
Yep.
But there's a lot of gray zone viewers and all these other, a lot of other people who, say like, Ukraine should surrender, because they're the ones that the West has like an influence on and all that. But again, it's like what we were talking about earlier, like these leaders in these other countries, like they're not free of greed. They're not free of their own selfish interests.
True.
So yeah. Thanks for making me go like more in depth about it, because I think that some people would have misunderstood me had I not gone more in depth. But thanks for that.
Well, people forget world leaders are human beings, right? And we all have a lizard brain, right? That's the thing. It's like, how did we get to this point in world history? Are we mirroring the Romans like everybody says? I mean, are we going down the same path that they did? This at the time world dominance, and then all of a sudden spread yourself too thin and then collapse? I mean, what's going to be the catalyst for the decline of Western imperialism? What's going to be that spark that gets the ball rolling?
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. I just love talking to you, man, because we don't communicate enough in this space as individuals, right? We're always just like, somebody says something on a show we don't like, and then it's just like, we just want to cancel them or whatever. And it's just, nobody's taking the time to sit down and go mano a mano with people. And like I always said, groups, people, you can't, like, not all Democrats are evil. Some of them are just misguided people that have just been, just need an education, right? Republicans too.
Yeah.
Just any kind of these people who are in this cultist mindset, it's just.
Oh, right. That's another thing, Warren. Like, there's people that they discover how bad the Democrats are, and then they put all their focus now on just like only attacking to the libs, and then they feel like the strategy should be to pander now to the right wing. Mm-hmm. Or it'd be like, like they're seeking outsiders, like they perceive Trump as an outsider, and that's why they wanted to vote for him and all that, and that's why we should try to reach out to these people on our channel. How about you try to reach out to everybody? Just be objective, right? Yeah. And that's why I saw that disconnect with Jimmy Dore and with Cornel West. It seemed like Cornel West was trying to reach out to the libs more, and Jimmy Dore was trying to reach out to a lot of the Trump supporting audience that he's garnered for his channel.
Yeah.
And how about we just be consistent and reach out to all of them?
Yeah, I don't see nothing wrong with that.
Right.
I mean, and the more people you reach out to, the more allies you potentially get, like true allies, right? Because when you don't have good communication flows between one another, a lot of times, a game of telephone or gossip is played, that old game where it's like you get a line of people, you sit down, like maybe like 20 people, you tell one person this, whatever it is on one end, and they whisper it down the line, and by the end it gets to the other end, it turns into like something totally different, right? And it just seems like that's how it is in here. People just want to jump to conclusions on shit, but they don't want to listen to people, right? Just
Right.
breathe. Relax, everybody, chill. Let's talk to each other. Let's hear each other out, and find out if we're coming from good places or not. That's another thing too. It's like some people, they're gonna talk some talk that you like, but where are they coming from, man? What's their angle? Like, are they really just like want to do good in the community, as it were? Or, do they got nefarious means, or they got more greed means, like, we were talking about, right? I understand you got to try and survive in this space, if you want to keep putting out content and keep communicating with people in that medium. And sometimes like I said, sometimes you have to do some things to pay the bills, right? Quote unquote. But then, then you have people who are just totally in it for the clicks, and they don't give a shit about the community, but they try to make you think they are.
Yeah.
The clout chasers.
That's why I'm saying, like, because people rely on this as like a source of income, they don't like becomes a subconscious thing where they feel like they have to make a video about a certain hot topic.
Right.
And if only they had like a different source of income, like if only they, like, I don't know, if they did this as a hobby, maybe they'd start to see things more objectively if they were to do that.
Or maybe
happened?
they would able to, and they would also get interested in more topics because they would have the time and less of the mental stress that life is currently giving us right now, and they can channel that into doing good things for other people and learning about other people like that. That extra time to do that.
Yeah, there's way more to life than the shit that's going on in like indie/alt media. There's way more to life than that. And if you step away too and you detach, touch grass. Like if you step away and detach yourself from all this stuff that's going on, and then you come back, you start to see things more objectively. But then when you start talking to these people that are in this 24/7, invested and fighting with people online all day long, and then you give your perspective to them, they start to look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
And you're like, how are you not agreeing with, all my other fellow like Jimmy fans, or all my other fellow Tim Pool fans, or whatever? I'm bringing up these names because like these are the ones that I've interacted with the most. And like, don't become like the equivalent of an AOC simp to a commentator. Like, you're not going to be able to see things clearly. Like, these people are not always going to be right, and you need them to be held accountable for that. It'll make them better if you are to hold them accountable when they're wrong about something. And you also don't want them to get influenced by some bad faith actors out there who are potentially infiltrators, because there is that.
There are a lot of them out there too, and they're just like they're like hawks, just looking.
And it's a big reason for why we have this disassemblement. They're there to stir up drama and to create confusion and to confuse a lot of these people, especially the popular people in this space, to confuse them about things that are going on. And then they regurgitate this on their show, and then the audience gets confused.
Yes. Yeah. It's almost like when CNN came along with the 24-hour news cycle, and got to the point where you couldn't get the full story on anything. It was just like 30-second little bits here, so they could cram all this shit into it. It's like they do with airplanes, right? They make the seats really tiny so they can cram as many fucking people in there. Same thing with news, right? So you don't get the full story. And then it got to the point where it was just like all opinions and shit. And maybe we'll sprinkle a little news in there that's actually true, like with some facts and stuff. And now you start seeing that seeping into independent media too, where, you just see like, people, look, if you're going to, I'll just say this. If you're going to have a TMZ style show, and you're doing that shit for clicks so you can get paid, all right, that's your thing. But don't call yourself a journalist, and don't shit on anybody else that's actually doing real shit for people out here, all right? You want to get your little click happy, you know, she said this, and they're bitching it. Okay, that's fine. But don't call yourself important. Shut the fuck up, have a seat, let the adults do all the shit. Sorry. Just saying.
Just embrace it. Like, if you're gonna be like a drama channel, embrace that and just
embrace
say
it. Yes.
Yeah.
Don't pretend. Then you'll be a fucking Democrat. Oh, I'm gonna do all this stuff for you. No, I'm not. Shh. Yeah, I'm gonna do all this stuff for you. So you say, oh, I'm gonna provide all this information for you. Then it's all like, well, this person's bitching at this person. Oh, this person's bitching. Who gives a fuck about that shit? It was like this video I saw today. Like the guy said, I don't know. It's like this montage of people talking about how they were just poor and the economy sucked. This one guy says, look, I'm trying to feed my kids. I'm trying to get a roof over my head. And they're telling me about aliens. I don't give a fuck about aliens, all right? Aliens and these fucking beefs can go fuck themselves, all right? Y'all got beef in this space? Get the fuck out.
You're trying to survive out here, right?
Go get a job at mainstream media, because you're going to fit right in there with these fucking beefs because you're not adult enough to settle all this bullshit in the space, And it just saddens me, man, because I know a lot of good people in this space, man. They got great ideas, and their hearts are huge, and they come from, they're just good people, and just they can't fucking communicate, man. It just makes me angry.
You brought something up earlier that made me think, like, another reason why there's a lot of this disassemblement, and that's people succumb to access journalism. Like, they they're acting nice to a lot of these politicians because they want to maintain access to them. Like, a lot of the politicians that were, like, in 2016, like, we were kind of on the same page with them, like when Bernie Sanders had, like, Nina Turner and all these people. But now, like, they're no different from any other Democrat. But then you see people like Tim Black trying to, like, maintain access to Nina Turner, trying to work on her campaign. I don't know what the heck is going on with, like, Kyle Kalinske and Crystal Ball, but it looks like they're trying to maintain access to some of these progressives and are now simping for Biden, and they're trying to reach out to that freaking Biden audience. Right? They're trying to pander to those people and bring them in.
They want front row seats to the theater. That's what they want. They want the front row seats. They want to say they want to be in the mix, and and they're getting paid, right? And they're making money off of doing absolutely nothing but propaganda and stirring the shit over some bullshit, right? They're no better than these kids doing the fucking Vanguard boys, who do that shit. Those fucking... I don't know them personally. They may be the nicest kids in the world, and I've seen their show only like a couple times, but it's just like, come on, kids.
I've told them, like, I told them, like, I've been on their show a couple times. I said, look, guys, I don't like that type of content that you guys make. At least you guys fully embrace it and all that. Yeah. It just becomes a problem when viewers become addicted to that stuff. But yeah, at least you guys are embracing that. And look, I'm cool with a lot of the RBN people. I haven't talked to the Due Dissidents guys a lot, but they're to me and to a lot of people, I would say even objectively, I don't think they're much different from the Vanguard. It's just that they're on Team Jimmy Dore. And that's where you get this whole tribalism stuff going on. One side is like team, I don't know, Kyle with the Vanguard boys and all that, and the other side is like team Jimmy Dore. However, I even see with the Vanguard, there's more disagreements that they have with Kyle and Crystal and all these other people than I see with the Due Dissidents guys in RBN than with Jimmy Dore. And that's unfortunate. And again, like you were saying, the Vanguard guys could be like nice guys and all that. I know a lot of the RBN people can be genuine and all that. The Due Dissidents guys, I don't know that much, but they could be also genuine also.
I've dealt with those guys a good bit. I work with them doing like comedy bits and stuff on their show. And I mean, I see these guys, to me, they come from a good place. Right? I know I keep saying that over and over, but it's very important that I know where people come from. Like if you're trying to scam me, go fuck yourself. But if you're coming from a good place, maybe you're a little misguided, or maybe you don't know what's up, I'm willing to listen. Let's rock and roll. And I discovered these guys, and I knew what they were about, and they make no bones about what they do. They do these stories because they attract an audience, but they also do stories on there that are very important, that draw attention to a lot of stories some of these other channels aren't talking about, which is part of the variety that we
like when they had
space.
Joanne Reed talk about East Palestine. I did see that.
And and I love those guys. On a personal level, I've spoken to them. They're New York guys like me. We're all just a bunch of losers. Just a bunch of knuckleheads. But I love those guys because, like I said, if they weren't coming from a good place, if I didn't get like a genuinely good vibe from those cats, I wouldn't have nothing to do with them. But I think what they do is good. They're growing, and that's some scary shit when you grow that fast too, because then everybody comes out of the woodwork, man, and then it's like, how do we keep this going, right? Then there's a lot of decisions you got to make. I mean, personally, I don't know. I've only got 400 and something subscribers, so it's not like I'm like blowing up the internet. But when you're like blowing up like that, I would imagine that's some like crazy territory, right? How do you think about it? How do you try to herd the cats, as it were?
Yeah. I mean, you said they're open about like how they're also like a TMZ channel.
Yeah, well, I mean, they do a lot of the beef stories, right?
Yeah.
So and they know those.
As long as they're embracing that, and they're being honest with.
Right. Oh yeah, they're not. Yeah, these guys. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I've talked to them, and like I said, they do a variety of stories on their show, and they also do like entertainment stuff on the show too. It's not just like hardcore political stuff too. So, and then they put, if they have my ass on there, then it's got to be quality entertainment. Am I right? Yeah, right. Well, fuck off, man. Nobody asked you. You piece of shit. I don't know who that guy is. I don't know why. He's talking. I do hallucinate a lot, but you already know that, Franco. So, anyway, you know what? I want to talk about some fun stuff with you, man, because we got to put some sugar. We got a lot of spices tonight. It was spicy. I love it, man. I got to raise my voice, and nobody yelled at me, and I didn't soil myself. That's all. You get to be my age. That's a good day, Franco. I'm just saying. So, okay, so you took a little break, right? I mean, I know you're doing the book reviews and in the other videos that you were talking about, and kind of staying away from the whole political and talking about all this stuff that we've been talking about forever, So but in that, I know because you'd said, look, I'm going to take some time. What did you do in that time? And did it? Do you think it gave you like a little refreshed in the head? You feel like you got like a new sense of being? What's going on?
Yeah, it's pretty much just focusing on my personal life, like focusing on my family, focusing on my job, and taking care of my cats. And then I just went back to like, it's been a while since I watched some anime. I mean, let me pay. I never actually finished Naruto. Let me finish that. I finished Naruto. Made some connections. I was viewing it with a different perspective from when I was a kid. So all that stuff I learned through politics and looking at corruption and all that stuff, and I was able to look at Naruto in a different way, just like I view One Piece now in a different way, like another anime from how I viewed it when I first encountered it when I was a kid. Same thing with Bleach. That's another anime I was watching. I was watching Mob Psycho. I know Glory's in the chat. She's gonna be happy I brought that up.
She's over there
Attack on Titan. Yeah.
Oh, Attack on Titan. I wanted the final season, right? When they're like, how many episodes are in a Attack on Titan season? There's like 1,000 episodes. They just keep going.
I'm pretty sure it's like 26.
No, 26 squared, maybe. But there's so many.
Hey man, if you want to know about how many, One Piece has like over 1,000 episodes.
Yeah.
That's what I love. Like about like 800, 700, 800 or so.
That's what I love about the Japanese, man. They don't play, man. There's like, look, we're just good.
Hey,
boom, 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 boom.
There's some really
golden.
Good philosophical messages that are being put on there about like government, society, human psychology. What else? I was reading Berserk. A lot of great philosophical stuff there. I'm not done with it yet. I'm not caught up with Berserk yet, the manga. And I was reading some books, like which I talk about on my show also. Some of those I've read like over a year ago and all that. And yeah, I mean, kept going to the gym, playing soccer, hanging out with some childhood friends and all that. Just stepping away, detaching myself, because if we just make news and like looking at all these like depressing stories every day, if we just make that our entire life and ignore all this other personal stuff that's going on, if we ignore our community, then you become out of touch with those people, and you succumb to the tribalism. If you're ignoring self-help, if you're ignoring spirituality, if you're ignoring psychology, you're informed about all this stuff, but the way that you're perceiving it and all that, you're going to succumb to tribalism. Like you might get stuck on just like one journalist or one commentator, or just this tribe of the commentators that you listen to that all agree with each other. And at that point, you're just treating it like confirmation bias instead of being more of a skeptic, instead of questioning things more.
Yeah. And we definitely need to question things a lot more. Stop having idols. Stop idolizing people in this space or anywhere. Please, can we stop with the idolizing? That's one way to help break down the cults. Okay. You can have respect for somebody, but you can also be skeptical at the same time. You know, they're not mutually exclusive, right? So, and I would also suggest, as someone who has a communications degree, that don't judge everybody in a particular, if you think they're in a particular group, that they're all the same. Okay? Please just take everybody on an individual basis, and then you may actually learn something, and then they may actually learn something. Oh my goodness, you may have found a friend. Hugs, heart emoji. I mean, you know, right? What's it gonna hurt?
Right. And Warren, you brought up like how people are like disassembled now. Like obviously I'm not collaborating with some of these people as much as I used to. And the reason for that is like for my own peace. Some of these people I try to work things out with. Some of these people who I'm not as close to as I am now, or we had a major disagreement and we argued about it. I try to make amends. I was like, let's talk about it on the show with some other people and with other perspectives. Like I've always done. I've always had panel discussions, right? That's like what a lot of people knew my show for, is me being a moderator and having on all these different perspectives, these different people on. And the goal for that was to maintain that unity. I wanted to maintain that unity, but some of those people, they didn't respond to me anymore, despite stuff that we've gone through, and like how we agree on all these other things, but there was just a difference in opinion on some things that came up. Like for example, like I'm not going to say too much about it, but when there's like allegations that come out about certain people and how they abuse their power, and even those people admit that they committed some wrongs, like for example with Caleb Maupin, like I'm gonna stand by my principles. Some people chose to give Caleb the benefit of the doubt instead of looking at the information that was being presented.
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, that's fine. Like you want to stand by him, okay, whatever. But then like we have disagreements about other things, like the Russia-Ukraine situation, and I'm like, all right, let's talk about this. Not silence. And I was bringing on people who they're also cool with. I was like, let's have a panel discussion with, you know, some of these other people that you guys are cool with. Silence. Yeah. They didn't want to talk to me anymore. And like other journalists like had blocked me and had blocked other journalists, all because of a disagreement. And I'm not gonna mince my words, but the sense that I got was hero worshiping for certain political leaders like Putin. Like that's the sense that I got, and we kind of went into it, and with some of the recent interviews that I had on my show, um, with some people who live abroad, so people can just can look at those interviews if they want. And you know, I can talk about it some more. I had a panel discussion even on that, on the Russia-Ukraine situation, and there were differences in opinion there. I had people on my show to talk about differences in opinion about nuclear weapons and how should we all disarm? Should it be the U.S. the first to do it? Do all these countries? Are they just making things worse by having their own nuclear weapons? Well, like we get into those topics. I mean, I try to I would always try to maintain unity by doing that.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
I know you've been doing
some
that
people
forever,
chose their
too.
loyalty for some commentators. I'm guessing like subconsciously, maybe for access journalism, or they're looking out for their career more. I don't know. That was just my take, you know. So I separated myself for my own peace.
No, I don't blame you, and you got to do that. I mean, I have to take myself out of situations like that too. For the sake of everybody involved, yourself included, right? So, especially if you've cared about these people, you've been in the trenches with them for so long, and then you hate for anything to go to shit over just something that may be able to be repaired, right?
Yeah.
Like my take on Putin and this whole thing with Ukraine and Russia. It's just it's war is hell. Nobody's winning, right? I mean, there's murdering more people than the other team, but they're still killing each other, right? And I hate to say this, but Trump's right. I just want the killing to stop. I'm saying, wait, I just want the killing to stop. Y'all sit down, work this shit out, all right? You know, you have people in the Donbass on the eastern part of Ukraine you have to think about too. Let them have a say. Come on, you know. It's like, oh, well, they got guns to their head that the Russians are making, and then you hear people like, no, they're totally doing this on their free will. It's like, with all the misinformation that's going around, we don't know everything 100%, but we have to push in the direction of saying, look, stop the war, make it work, all right? Because it's killing our economy over here, all right? I'm gonna be blunt about this. It's killing the economy. It's killing us, right? It's not only killing those poor people over there. It's killing us too, because it's just starving us out, right? Over some neoliberal bullshit war, so they're fucking military industrial complex motherfucker buddies can make all the money. I'm sick of it, and it's like, and these people want to vote it out, and they want to fuck off with the voting. All right, fuck off with the voting.
Oh yeah, we didn't even get to that, Warren. How much of an illusion voting is.
I know, right? And political parties too. I'm gonna say it right now. These political parties, it's bullshit. There's all they are is fundraising machines. That's all they are. Oh, it's a collection of people working to get. No, it's not. The Green Party's been a fucking mess for 40 years.
Right.
Libertarians, they only get along with themselves. They don't want to try and get along with the other people.
Which is why what was I gonna say about the third parties? Which is why Cornel West is not, like, I do not think that he's aware enough about how deep the corruption goes. Like, theoretically, I think that if there was like someone who was running for president that was exposing corruption at a very deep level and was very like self-aware, like spiritually aware and all that, I'll be like, hey, if this guy's in it to raise awareness, this guy's in it to raise consciousness, I'm gonna like say, I mean, like, this is someone that like we should try to elevate or something, but are they going to, is it realistic that they're going to win with the current conditions right now, with how our elections are owned by these corporations, by the rulers of this country? They're not going to make it really far. And if they were truly a threat, then they're gonna go the way of, unfortunately, how a lot of these music artists and the Kennedys and MLK and Malcolm X and all these other people went. They're not they're if they're truly a threat, they're going to be taken out.
Yeah. Yeah, we've
And
seen
that's the
a
sad
few of
reality.
them. Yeah, we've seen a few of them taken out too.
Yeah,
Right.
which is why
Suicide
I-
with 4 bullets to the head. I don't think
Yeah.
that's how that works. So, yeah, I could be
Yeah, I
wrong. I'm
don't-
no coroner.
Cornel West, like running in the Green Party, how he doesn't. You saw the video of him like just like giving Fauci a tongue bath and all that. He doesn't understand the corruption at a deep level,
No.
and I don't think that the establishment sees him as a threat.
I don't think so. No, I mean,
Yeah.
well, first off,
Nor do they think RFK Jr. is a threat either.
look for any like local Greens. I'm not talking about you people. I'm talking about I'm talking about the National Green Party. National Green Party is a fucking joke. It's always been a joke, and I don't know why the fuck Cornell decided to run with them. It would be interesting if he had ran with the Libertarian Party. That would have been fun.
That party's a mess too, though.
Yeah, I know, right?
Party.
But they kind of have they have their shit together more than the Greens. At least they
They do have their
more.
shit together more, but I mean the bar is just set so low though, Warren. The bar is so low.
It's like it's like you have the Democrats and you have the Republicans, right? And then your farm teams are your Greens, for the Dems and the Libertarians for the Republicans, right? That's how it is. It's all farm teams, man, and shit like that. It's the same. It's like the Dollar Tree version of Democrat and Republican. It seems like they're doing the same bullshit, same beefs, all that kind of shit, man. Get rid of them all, man. Just get rid of them all. Let everybody run independent. It's 2023. You can, if you need to raise funds or get the word out.
Right? That would be better.
Yeah, I mean,
ideally, a lot of things would be better though. Like I think
yeah.
that people would be more focused on their local communities and all that.
People would have to collaborate more.
Yeah,
like you wouldn't have to worry about like if a traditional Democrat and a Republican working together because there's no party affiliation, right?
Yeah,
you might actually get the best out of everybody, working together and helping to get each other elected. In their state or in their counties or whatever. That's how you get them together instead of like dividing them with parties who all these party bosses get all the money and, they don't do anything. It's just clubs. They're just going to choose who they want.
If a third party starts becoming a threat or potential threat, then they just infiltrate that. And that's what we saw with the Green Party, right?
Well, yeah, speaking of the Green Party, I was
Howie Hawkins and all that, and
right.
all that.
And when they said, when Bernie lost the nomination, they said, you could be our nominee. You could be our nominee. It's like, don't your Green Party constituency, don't they have to, the base have to vote for him to be the party nominee? Oh, it's private party. You can do whatever you want. Yeah, Bernie, come on, be the nominee for us. Fuck that shit. Just go in. I would have respected him more if he had just stayed independent and ran independent the whole time, right? At least he wouldn't have been sheepdogging people into the fucking Democratic Party, right? And RFK Jr. like, I'm a Democrat and I always been. Well, fuck you too, man. If all you're gonna do is sheepdog people in there, and then Crystal and Orb's chick trying to do the same thing, trying to get people in Democrat. Fuck the Democratic Party. You're not gonna change it. It's like taking a Kleenex. Right? Or taking a square of toilet paper and trying to clean a muddy road. You're not gonna fucking do it, man. You got to tear up the fucking road, or at least get a hose. I don't know. That's a bad analogy.
Or the Republican Party, because I do see some people, and I think that the infiltrators are trying to sway some people in this direction that say, well, the Democratic Party is so bad, but at least the Republican Party, their primaries are a bit more fair. Blah blah blah. Like they're owned by the same people. Do you not forget that? Like it maintained the consistency.
It's
like
the same people.
Trump is not a threat. No one who runs in the Republican Party is a threat. No one who runs in the Democrat Party is a threat. The Green Party, which is infiltrated, they're not a threat, et cetera, et cetera.
As long as the system is the way it is now, no one is a threat to that system. You cannot do it on a surface level. You have to get to the roots to get to change the system. And if we're not serious about talking about getting to the real roots of the problem, and we know we are, we're talking about the fucking deep state. We talk about these motherfuckers that's been in the 3-letter organizations for how many years, and then their little puppet masters running the show. I know it all sounds like kind of tinfoily and shit like that, but that shit's true. That's what's going on, and people don't. They're gonna vote their way out of it. You ain't gonna fucking vote your way out of it. Stop with the voting shit. On the local level, you want to do state shit. All right, that's fine. That's probably pretty good.
Yeah.
But the national level is a lost cause.
All you got to do is ask those people, how do you know your vote counts? The people who have faith in our elections, how do you know your vote counts?
Right?
How can you prove that your vote counted for, the person that you voted for? And they can't do it.
No.
It's just faith in something, they can't prove.
Because if they admit it, if they admit they got nothing else, then they have to admit it to themselves, and then they're like, "Oh fuck," and they don't want that alternative.
And they're attached to like an idea of something.
The illusion.
The solution.
Yes, they're attached to the illusion.
And so detaching from that is painful for some of these people. Like it's like you're telling me that it's hopeless.
I was a diehard Democrat back in the 90s, right? In my 20s, I was stupid. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was partying and shit. I wasn't paying attention to politics. I thought, well, he's playing saxophone on Arsenio Hall. Bill Clinton is. Yeah, he must be cool. I'll vote for him. And then, you get, fast forward. I'm like, oh, great. I'm glad I voted for that asshole who pretty much fucked up this country, But, that's what age does. My good man, I wish I was as wise at your age. I wish I was your age. Just fuck it. I wish I was your age. I don't like being old. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm an old stoner. You know how it is. Listen, man, it's 10:08. You want to hang out more? You gotta go. What's going on? What do you want to do?
We could probably cut it at like 10:15 if you want. I think that would be cool. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Right on. Because. I miss talking to you, man. I miss, like, I'll tell you this, man. I'm going to get a little nostalgia here. Like I said, when you and we both came into space at the same time, and I discovered you and, the activism that you were doing, the on-the-ground reporting and stuff that you were doing, your show, and I was like, this cat is right on, right? So, and then you took a little time off recently, and I was like, and I know what you've been through. We don't have to go through all this shit. Yeah. I know exactly what you went through, and I am so sorry you went through that, brother. I really do. Like, I love a lot of the people in this space and a lot of the people that are kind of giving you hardship too, right? And we're gonna figure this out, man, because we're all good people. All right. So there's got to be just some communication gaps. It's just something. We gotta clean out all the junk, and we'll make it clean again. Somehow we're gonna do it. And if not, then it wasn't meant to be, right? We gotta move on. We gotta find new people. We gotta bring them in. It's just, I guess that's the process, right?
Yeah, I guess I do forget. Everyone has their own journey, and all that. Because I was there in 2016. I didn't know, but people go through their own process. Sometimes it takes years for them to get to or to get further out of the matrix. Sometimes you can get stuck for a couple months. Sometimes you can get stuck for a couple years, and sometimes you can get stuck for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
In the same spot, attached to the idea that a specific solution is going to work, like third parties or what's it called? Some people get attached to the idea thinking that a violent revolution is going to save them, even though they're not aware enough of the current way things are. Maybe a revolution like that would have worked 60 years ago, but now our military is just too powerful for that, and our intelligence community and surveillance and all that, they shut that down before it even starts.
We've got two militaries, actually. We have the actual military, and then we have the police forces.
And we got Space Force now.
Oh, we got Space Force. Oh shit, wrong show. I was gonna hit the Jewish space lasers soundbite. But damn it, that's the other show. Sorry. This is this more highbrow on this side. You know what I mean? On the Extra Bull Alive, the secret show. That's where we do the crazy stuff. So,
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah,
but you know what I'm saying? Yes, Space Force.
So a big thing people need to admit to themselves is that if they don't know something, they got to be honest with themselves and say that they don't know. Like separate a belief from something that you know for sure is true, or what's it called, or likely to be true. Like keep asking yourself that question, and you'll discover that there's probably a lot of things that you think are true are like you can't actually prove. Like it's just an idea that you have in your head.
Right.
So we just got to be honest with ourselves and not attach ourselves to ideas, just like we shouldn't attach ourselves to people. Just be honest and keep asking questions.
Well, we have to be pretty malleable these days because a lot of shit's changing left and right, and the fuckery. There's one brand of fuckery, and then once you locate that and isolate that, then there's another one that pops up, and it just, everybody's running around like chickens with their heads cut off, Yeah. So, and that's what that's by design. The more chaos, the more confusion, the easier to control people. You just give them these little sweet lovins. Oh, we'll take care of you. Don't worry. We got all this stuff for you. No. And they do it. They fall for it every fucking time. It sucks. But I'll tell you this. When I was that Clinton guy, when I finally got out of that, I said, you know what, this sucks. Because when I was when I was in that cult, it was nice. I thought everybody.
It's comfy. Yeah.
It was great. And you get out and you hate. Well, first, I know that this is the progression. You're in the cult. And then people try to tell you that you're in a cult, and you tell them you're full of shit, and then that they're telling you truth, and you don't want to hear it. And then finally you hear enough of it, and you start thinking about it, and you start investigating on your own, like, holy shit, this person was right. Holy shit, this person was right. Holy fuck, these people have been telling me this shit the whole time. And then hopefully, it cracks you out of the egg, and then you're like, oh fuck, here it is. It is the Matrix. We're sitting in the chairs in the smoldering mess. The sky is black, and took that pill, and here we are. I'm glad I took the pill, though. I hate knowing what I know, but I'm glad I know it because I'd rather not know it. We gotta be prepared. We gotta tell each other this shit, right?
Yeah, but then you gotta ask the question. Now, what do I do? I know what's going on, but now what? What do I do?
Right. It's scary. You don't know what to do. Right.
And you're like, I know that this isn't going to work. I know that this won't work because, intelligence will stop it. I know this won't work because, it's unrealistic. They control our elections, blah, 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 blah. So that's how I came to, the decision that I'm doing now, which is I'm going to focus on my own, mental health and blah, blah, blah. Because if I don't have my own mental health in check, if I'm not aware of myself enough and if I'm not strong about my principles and all that, then I'm not going to be able to fix anything. So, I mean, you can lead by example by just being that, that person that is aware, that person that is kind, that person that is informed. And people are like, I mean, this guy has a good head on his shoulder. I don't think that he's crazy about the things that he's saying, because to a lot of people, you tell them all this stuff that's going on in the world and they think that you're crazy.
Yeah.
And it also, if you're aware enough, then you can find a better method on how you can help that other person break out of the matrix, or break a little bit more out of the matrix.
But that's the thing. It's scary as hell. The fear controls you in the matrix, and then when you're out of the matrix, there's that fear of the unknown. Like, what do I do now? Who do I trust out here? It's like you trusted all this shit for so long, and now here you are, like the rug just got pulled right under you, and everything you knew was bullshit, and it's just, Dude, some people can't handle it. It's just that's a heavy trip, brother. You know what I mean? To actually realize that, not like, oh, just thinking about it, to actually understand that the reality we're living in today is fucked up, and more so than anyone could ever imagine, right? It's just, and I worry about those people. I really worry about those people, man. Those are the ones we got to take care of. And like, look, okay, here's the thing, and then we all band together, and that's how it works, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I've kept you long enough, brother.
It's great talking to you, man.
See?
It's therapeutic, you know, this conversation, you know, me letting things off my chest and all that.
That's what I'm here for.
I'm here to be honest about things, and like, I'm not trying to stir up drama or anything like that, because where the heck is that going to get us? But I am going to talk about things that have been upsetting me and all that. But yeah,
I'll say this. Like I said before, man, I said, if I thought you were like some sort of clout chasing, you know, grifter bullshitter, I have nothing to do with you, man. I don't want nothing to do with those kind of people in this space. But I know where you come from, man. I know you're from. I know what you've done. Your consistency. You've always been consistent about what you said. You know, but at the same time, you do have an open mind too. You're willing to, you know, cater to, you know, several kind of notions, because you never know which one is the right path, right, or which one is the right answer, right? You know, if we just immediately jump on something without knowing for sure if that's it or not, you know, that's what they want us to do, react and just do this, and then we're just in constant conflict with one another. So, but I'm glad you came on tonight. This was your idea, actually. But I did tell you before you went on your break, I said, let me know when you get back and we'll do a show. And you're like, sure enough, you came back and said, look, motherfucker, let's do a show. And sure enough, here we are. So I appreciate you, man. So let's go ahead and do the deeds here. Tell everybody what you got coming up next, and where they can find you and all that good stuff.
So up next, I'm pretty sure the next video I'll do will be, I don't know, in a week or 2 weeks or something. I'm taking my time with videos and all that, but I'm going to finish up this book right here. I've been reading the chapters. It's 9 total chapters. I just read chapter 7 recently. We got 2 more chapters to go. The Tao of Systems Thinking. So taking in Eastern philosophy and also seeing how it overlaps with systems thinking. So viewing how one thing causes another thing and how all these other things are connected to each other. That's how you look at things systemically, like what caused what, how did we get here? And yeah, it's like seeing how it overlaps with Eastern philosophy. And I have other books too that I want to review, and I'll also talk about some other topics that are in psychology and spirituality and all that. And on rare occasions, if there's going to be a topic in the news that I really want to talk about, then I'll talk about that. If I feel like I can bring some different perspectives on, I'm still going to do that, but it'll be more sparsed out. And I like the direction that my channel's headed in. It's like it's like a rebranding, right? Like you're gonna pick up a new audience and all that. You're gonna lose some people, some of those dogmatic people that want me to just like regurgitate what their favorite commentator says. But like this I gotta do my own thing, you know.
Not my audience. My audience, they don't have lives. They come here because I lie to them and say there's snacks, and you know there's no snacks here. I'm sorry. I hope you weren't under the
Where are the
impression there were
cookies?
snacks. They're good. They were in my belly and soon to be in the East River, if you know what I'm saying. So no cookies for anybody. Fuck y'all. I'm an old man. I do what I like. Franco, do me a favor. Keep doing what you're doing. All right.
Thank you. Man.
And don't let, as they say, don't let the bastards drive you down. And like I said, you keep focusing on what you're doing. You know, I think if it's going to will out, where the people that we know, the people that we have, you know, yelled and screamed at other people with together and have just like, you know, been, I think we can get back some people, and some people I think are lost, you know, and if those people are lost and we can't get to them, unfortunately,
it's not our problem at that point.
Yeah, we have to wish them well, and you know, hopefully everything is fine. So, you know, because we've got bigger fish to fry, man. We've got to take care of business. We got people to take care of, and trying to find solutions and get people who have these solutions on your air, on my air, so we can get the word out. And you know, like I said, for these channels that like to do the TMZ stuff, totally go knock yourself out. But don't fuck with the dynamic over here. We're trying to do some serious business, all right? So, Franco, I appreciate you, brother. I love you, man. And we're gonna do this again soon. You're gonna get tired of seeing me. I'm gonna be like Kramer, busted into Jerry's apartment, only without the racism. So, you know, not that guy. Anyway, wait, what? Who said that? So just stay put here. I'm gonna say goodbye to everybody here, and then you know, I'll tell people what's going on for me. So hang tight, brother. I'll appreciate you. I'll see you soon. Okay.
All right.
All right, man. Oh, damn it. I knew I forgot to do that. I like that music. That's from the other show. Anyway, full disclosure, I think I had a little bit of sativa in the shit I was smoking, and wow, I'm a chatty Cathy tonight. I appreciate my man Franco for putting up with my shenanigans tonight. So it was a great conversation. I loved it. So I just want to shout out Gregory over there and Miguel on Rockfin, our silent majority on Rumble. I know you're out there. We love you. If you're on Twitch there too, we love all y'all. Thanks to everybody that showed up tonight. We appreciate you. For me, coming up, I have got the Secret Show coming up this Saturday night / Sunday morning at midnight Eastern. Come hang out with us if you're night owls. We just talk about all kinds of shit. You know, Franco does the highbrow stuff. You know, we do cartoons and butt plugs. You know, we all have our roles here. We all have our roles. So anyway, I'm going to get out of here. We're going to try, I don't know when the next Extra Bowl Live is going to be. I did want to get a hold of Franco to do the show tonight, so I'm grateful for that. So I don't know if we're going to keep doing this on Wednesdays or not. I'll let you know. Just check the community tab. You know the drill. So anyway, I'm getting the fuck out of here. Wash your ass. Have a good night. And don't forget to stay for the very end. I got a treat for you. Bye!
But we know our progress on these challenges depends on our workers. They will drive our clean energy transition. They will keep the global supply chain secure.